When you refer to the United States, how do you refer to it? The USA, the US of A? Do you ever actually think about what's in the name of our country? The United States. United States. We say the United States, whereas people 100 and 150 years ago said these United States. Now, that may seem trivial on its surface, but I think it's very telling as to how people originally thought of this country. This country was supposed to be a collection of individual sovereign states, kind of like the EU. The states were viewed by the people living in the states as individual sovereign little countries in a union of individual sovereign little countries. And the idea behind it was, look, if you live in Massachusetts and you don't like Massachusetts law or Massachusetts culture, you can move to Virginia or vice versa, right? And this cuts down on conflict because people have choice, because states are individual and sovereign and unique, right? It's not a difficult concept to grasp that the more we've blurred the lines between states using federal power to do so, the more conflict we've had. I mean, that's obvious to anyone paying attention. If you live in West Virginia and people in California, for some reason, have a say in West Virginia law, even though they have no idea what it's like to live in West Virginia, what the culture's like, what it's like to live in the countryside, any of that. That's just going to cause conflict, and I think we're seeing that. Now, when it comes to Roe v. Wade, I think it's safe to say that this is another example of that. The federal government stepped in back in the 1970s based on, I don't know what. I've actually looked into the original Roe arguments, and I can't understand how they came to the decision they came to it. I get that, again, people like the decision so they don't question it, but the reality is I can't grasp exactly how they spun that turd into a cupcake. But regardless, what the federal government essentially did was they crammed down their idea of what is true and just on the entire nation, blurring the lines between states. I think it just causes problems. I think if people in California, and I'm not trying to be a dick here, if people in California want to murder their kids at a cyclic rate because I don't know why, then they should be, I guess, allowed to do it if they vote for that. If people in West Virginia don't want that to happen in their state, then they should be allowed to say this doesn't happen in our state. Why is that such a terrible thing? You know, if Roe gets overturned, which it looks like it may, only about 13 states are going to put any restrictions on your ability to murder your babies. You can still get scraped out more times than a fisherman's knuckle if you want. Sorry, that was dickish. So I don't understand what the hyperventilation is about. If you live in 90% of the states in this country, you're still going to be able to do exactly what you want. You're still going to live on exactly the way you were going. But I think, you know, between this and the Johnny Depp trial, I think we're kind of losing sight of the big picture here. Sergei Lavrov said not even a couple of weeks ago that thermonuclear warfare was all but inevitable, and, you know, they'll go to heaven and we won't. Is that concerning to you? Maybe a little more than Johnny Depp's divorce trial or your ability to murder your kids? I mean, it should be kind of important, I would think, but no one's talking about it. No one's talking about the fact that inflation is skyrocketing, not to the level of the 80s, because if we counted inflation the way we counted inflation in the 80s, we're talking Great Depression levels of inflation. But they jigger the numbers to make it seem, well, less bad. The fact that families can't afford to put food on the table right now, quite literally, I think is a little bit more prescient than, you know, Johnny Depp's divorce trial or, you know, your ability to be free of the consequences of your choices. But we're going to talk about abortion, so let's talk about abortion. Look, ultimately what it comes down to, if you want to abort your children, if you want to go out there and have sex and full well knowing that the possibility of pregnancy is a very real one, whether you're protected or not, if you want to abort your kids, I think that's your business. I don't think that you should be able to use the government as a cudgel to smash resources out of your neighbors to fund your poor lifestyle choices. I just don't think that's right. I think if you want to have abortions, you should pay for them. And I don't want to hear about how underprivileged women look. If you're out there, at the club getting pregnant and all that kind of shit, I think your priorities are fucked up, and I don't think your neighbors should have to pay for that. If you're that poor, maybe you shouldn't be concentrating on doing the V for victory with your legs. Maybe you should be concentrating on getting a job. Same thing goes for you men. You men are not off the hook. I find you men most disgusting, to be completely honest with you. Women, I kind of understand. I kind of understand women getting abortions because, quite frankly, pregnancy is very scary. And having a baby on your own is fucking a tough bit of business, right? Women have been conditioned to believe that what they're doing is not a horrible, immoral, evil act, right? Because they're told to celebrate it, shout your abortions and all that. You men who get these women pregnant, and then you cajole them into an abortion clinic because you don't want to have to take responsibility for your actions. I find you most disgusting. But you sit there behind the white knight facade, I stand with women. I'll bet you do. As you're walking them arm in arm into the abortion clinic to get rid of the consequences of your fucking actions, you'll stand with them arm in arm, won't you? What you should be doing to stand with them arm in arm is helping them raise the child that you helped create, you scumbag. How about that? It's not, women say, my body, my choice, and I'm not going to get into the masks and the vaccines and the hypocrisy there. And, men don't get pregnant, so men can't talk about it. I'm not going to get into the hypocrisy there, the fact that I guess, up until 7 seconds ago, men could get pregnant. They were birthing people. So I'm not going to get into that. What I am going to get into, what I am going to dig into a little bit is just the overarching horribleness of what abortion actually is. Women say, my body, my choice. We're not talking about your body. If your body was the subject of the abortion, you would be the one having your spinal cord snipped, chopped up into little bits, and shipped off into medical labs. You would be the one having your head cracked open and your brains vacuumed out. We're not talking about your body. We're talking about the body of a child. And I don't want to hear that it's a fetus. It's a fucking child. I don't know. People I think have a sense that something bad is coming our way in one way, shape, or form or the other. And I tend to agree with them. As a nation, I think something bad is coming towards us. I've been saying this for a while. I think we've missed the last exit to avoid the bad things that are coming. And I think it's largely our own doing that, whatever befalls us is going to befall us. Maybe you're a spiritual person, maybe you're not, but if you are, I can't imagining God, or Buddha, or Shiva, whatever the fuck you believe in, Allah, Muhammad, I don't know. All right, looking down on earth and going, look at that. Millions of babies being aborted. That's a great thing. That's exactly how I designed this. And if you're not spiritual, I can't understand how you could rationalize the hundreds of millions of people that it took to get you here, to further your bloodline, your hundreds of millions of ancestors who lived way more brutal lives, who fought together shoulder to shoulder to keep the wolf from the door and the tyrant at bay. Okay? The people who starved, clawed, fought to get you here. And you're going to get here standing on their shoulders while mocking them as being backward and racist and awful people. And you're going to be like, well, I'm just not going to breed. I'm the human panda. It's too hard for me to do it. Your ancestors are spinning like tops in their graves. Yeah, I don't know, man. The white knight men really just drive me nuts. I stand with women and their body, their choice. You slimy coward. I'll bet you fucking ooze under doors instead of opening them. You stand with women. If you stood with women, you'd treat them with respect and not get them pregnant in the first place if you're not willing to take care of your responsibilities in the aftermath of that action. But instead, that's the other thing. Abortion's a very difficult decision. It is. It is a horribly difficult decision, and the women are the one who have to live with the aftermath of that. The women are the ones who have to remember it. The women are the ones who have it jackhammer their fucking morals. Okay? Who have to live with that pain of what could have been. Not you who stood with them arm in arm into the abortion mill. Nah, you don't really give a fuck anymore. It's done, right? And why is it a hard decision? Because deep down inside, these women understand exactly what they're doing, and they know that it's morally wrong. But they got scumbags like you who will tell them, nah, it's all right. Just go get it done. Just go get it done. Yeah, you're a real fucking hero. Moral rot. That's the problem. And we're going to pay for it. We're going to reap it. Anyways, happy Friday.